Hi there, thanks for emailing me about your Chapter 5 submission. So we'll get this thing whipped into shape, hang in there with me. I've already downloaded your file, so when you log into the My IT Lab system, what I'd like you to do is advance to your submission results, take a look at those, and then notice the button where you can download the submitted file. That's the one. I want you to download that one and open it and start from scratch using that file. So I'm going to open up your workbook, which I've downloaded, and we're just going to start right away. Sorry, I kind of glossed over it, but we're just going to start right away with, what is that, step 2? I'm going to click here in the background. Step 2 says assign the named ranges. So I'm going to flip back to your worksheets. Here it is. And I can see that the names are still not correct, like we talked about last night. So now let's do this together. So if you need to, pause the video, download your file, and open it. Have the video open on the screen and work along with me. In your workbook, click on the Formulas tab, click on Name Manager. We're going to start with category type. And so click to make it active and click Edit. Change E13 to E14 and click OK. And then I'm looking for anything that starts with a 13. The next one is cost. Click on Cost. Edit. Change 13 to be 14. All right, and we have a lot of these. Here's the next one, distance. Edit. We're going to change 13 to 14. And I'm just going to keep going alphabetically. Fresh status, our freshman status. Click to make it active. Click Edit. Change 13 to be 14. Next one down, graduation rates. Click to make it active. Edit. Change 13 to 14. Did I mention we have a lot of these? Let's keep going. Merit aid. Edit. Active. Change 13 to 14. Next one down, miles, edit, change 13 to 14. And then I'm about halfway. I'd like you to keep going. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to look for anything that starts with the 13. Change the 13 to 14. All right, I'm going to pause the video. You finish up your list, I'll finish up mine, and we'll come back and continue working. Okay, I'm back. Let's move on now to step 6. Step 6 refers to cell P14, where we're using this if and function. So I'm going to click the arrow to see exactly what it's expecting for this cell. And it tells me I'm going to need to create an if function with an embedded and function. You'll remember that the AND function has 2 tests. So the example I give in the classroom is, I tell my kids, if you clean your room and you do your homework, then you get a cookie. My kiddo has to do both things. So in this example, the 2 tests are that freshman status, so freshman satisfaction, has to be greater than 50%. Comma, the second test is that the graduation rate has to be greater than 50%. If both of those things are true, the college gets a score of 5. If either one or both of them are false, the college only gets a point of 1 or a score of 1. And all of that goes in cell P14. So I'm going to hop back to your worksheet. I'm going to advance on over to cell P14 and let's take a look at what's going on. Oh, past it. Here it is. So you have if and, but the first test is not completed correctly. So what we need to have happen is we need to have freshman status to be greater than 50%. The other thing that's going on here is that you're using the cell address instead of the name. And so you have to use the name. So within your, so I'm active on cell P14. Within your formula bar, click your mouse and delete K14 and start typing F-R-E-S-H. There it is. Fresh status. I have 2 names. I may have accidentally, so let's take this one. If you have 2 names, take the one with the underscore. Yeah, you'll know it's correct because it becomes highlighted in blue. If you don't have 2 names, go with the name that you have present. I may have made a mistake when I was correcting the addresses, so that might be why. Okay, so freshman status has to be greater than 50%. That's the first test. Comma, notice it's followed by a comma. The second test is here. You actually have the second test correct. Grad rate has to be more than 50%. But again, the trouble is that you did not use the name. And you have to use the name because that's a part of the skill that we're testing, is do you know how to use named ranges? So click by L14, delete L14, and use the name grad. There it is, grad rate. Grad rate has to be greater than 50%. The rest of it is okay, so you can go ahead and press enter on your keyboard. Then autofill that down. So I'm going to use my autofill command to fill that throughout the entire column. All right, let's hop over. Actually, sorry, don't mean to jump ahead. Let's go back to the results here. So that's step 6. Step 7 says Q14 has the if or function. There it is, the if or function. So let's take a look at your spreadsheet. I'm on Q14, if or need met, not need met, cost. What is D? Got to get back to my D column here. Oh yeah, if size is less than 1,000, or if need met is greater than 50%. So your tests are correct for the or function. The trouble again is that you didn't use the name. So I'm going to use size is less than 1,000. And I'm going to delete H14 and I'm going to say need met is greater than 50%. When you've corrected that, you can press enter and then autofill it through the column. Let's see if I can scroll here. You have to use your autofill command to fill that through the column. And you know, sometimes students will say to me, but the answer appears. I can see the results in Excel. And it's true, but remember, you need to display your skills. So you have to change it to be the name, because that's the skill I'm looking for. Do you know how to use named ranges? All right, let's go back to the results and see what's the next step we have to look at. So we're going to go down to step 9. Copy the formulas. Oh, we've already done this. Copy the formulas through the columns. Oh, that's good. We've already done that, so we'll get the point for that one. Step 10. In cell C1, use count if to count the number of schools in the state of Kansas. So that's in cell C1. So I'm going to go up and over to cell C1. So count if, aha, we have that same trouble. You're using the cell addresses instead of the name. So delete the range B14 through B54, delete that, and replace it with the name state. There it is. Now, notice, by the way, that I'm typing in the name and then I'm accepting it from Excel. So you can either double click on the name to select it, have Excel pop in the name, right? Just in case you've typed it in error. You want Excel to give you that name. Now press enter, 22. Okay, back to my IT lab. So that was step 10? Yeah, that was step 10. Good. Step 11, good. Step 12. Oops, I went too far. Step 12. In cell H1, use the average if function to calculate the average residential cost of attendance for colleges in the state of Kansas. All right, so, and again, here, use the names. Use the names. So I'm going to click to see exactly what it wants to see. It wants to see average if the state is Kansas. And then we're saying average the residential cost of attendance. All right, back to the worksheet. That's all in cell H1. Here we are. If state is Kansas, calculate. Oh, in this one, what I believe it deducted points for was that, here, see how residential COA is not the correct range. So I have updated that name. That's the name. So now if I could get the right name in there. There it is. See how I have a new name called res_COA? And do you see how it starts at F14? That's the range you have to use. You cannot calculate F13. F13 is not a number. It cannot be included in the function. So make sure that you update that name, press enter, and let's see what's the next thing we have to fix. So step 13, in cell H2, we're going to use average ifs to calculate the average cost of attendance, which we know, for colleges in the state of Kansas that have a low cost of attendance. So this time we're using average ifs to calculate the average cost of attendance for a state of Kansas, which for those colleges that have a cost rating of 5. All right, back over to your worksheet. Here we go. Res COA, so I have to fix that to be the new Notice that it's now highlighted in blue down below, so I have to use my new name. You might not have a new name, by the way. If you have fixed the name, ResCOA, use it. When I fixed the name, I gave it a new name with that underscore. That's why mine has that underscore. Okay, state is correct. Starts in row 14. Cost, where's my little cost column? There it is. Yep, starts at row 14, so that one's now correct. If state is KS and the cost has a score of 5, I'm going to press enter. And now look, I have an answer. I don't have an error message anymore because I'm using the correct names for the correct ranges. Okay, let's move along. So that was step 13. Step 15, in cell M2, use the sum ifs. So let's go over to M2. There it is. Sum if. Okay, so this could be, check each of the names to make sure that the range is referencing the correct area. Good, so yep, red, purple is correct, blue is correct. I already saw red. The cost column starts at row 14, perfect. And then state, we've already looked at because we do this twice, so purple is correct, good. And then you're saying KS, this should be capitalized. And then we're adding that to the sum ifs. If cost is 4, yep, or cost is 5, yep, that should be good. I'm going to press enter and have that correction appear. All right, let's see, step 19. In L9, use a function that'll find the maximum value. Okay, so I'm going to go back over and take a look at L9 here. So you have used the dmax function, which is our database function. We only need to use the max function. So we're just going to say max points. We want to find the maximum within the range named points. Go ahead and fix that, press enter, and that's our last step to fix. Make those changes, and when you submit your file, make sure you're submitting the correct updated file with all of these changes present. Save your work, submit it to my IT lab. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, and then email me if you have any other questions at all.